Every 60 seconds in this country, a $3,000 appliance gets hauled to a landfill. Not because it wore out, not because it was abused, because it reached its calculated expiration. And somewhere in a boardroom, not an engineering lab, a boardroom, someone decided exactly when that would happen. I've held motors from the 1970s that still run perfectly. I've held premium motors from 2022 that failed before a child finishes kindergarten. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, this is not bad luck. This is not modern manufacturing. This is architecture, a system built component by component to expire on a schedule. Today, I'm going to prove it before I show you the motor. Look at this. This is a 40-cent part. I want you to keep that number in your head. By the end of this video, I'll show you exactly where this is hiding inside your refrigerator and why it is specifically designed to fail at a very particular moment. But here's what the repair industry won't tell you. Replacing this part won't actually fix your problem. This isn't the trap. This is just the trigger. The trap was set long before you bought the machine. Once you see the full picture, you will never look at a new appliance the same way again. This is a compressor motor from 1994. This is the equivalent from a 2024 model retailing for over $1,400. The shaft diameter has been reduced by 22%. The manufacturer calls it energy efficiency. Physics calls it something else. Less mass means less thermal inertia. On a humid July afternoon, that shaft heats unevenly. It warps, not dramatically, fractions of a millimeter. But a fraction of a millimeter in a precision bearing is everything. The races wear asymmetrically. The motor pulls more amperage. The windings heat up. The death clock was wound at the factory. This is just where it starts ticking. This is the moment they hope you never see. Look at these windings. That rich orange glow. For 100 years that meant copper, meant quality, meant a motor built to last. It's silver underneath. This is copper-clad aluminum, SRCCA, an aluminum core with a thin copper coating applied to pass a visual inspection. That's the only reason the copper's there. Here are the numbers. Aluminum has 61% of the conductivity of copper. More resistance means more heat. More heat degrades the insulation lacquer around each winding. Once that lacquer fails, you get winding shorts, a current surge, a fried control board, and a flashing error code. The cost difference between CCA and real copper on this motor? $4 on a $1,400 refrigerator. While we're in here, bearings. Nobody talks about this. The older unit uses grade 10 bearing steel, hardened precision ground. The new unit? Grade 25. Softer alloy, easier to machine at volume, quieter when new, which scores better in reviews. But the hardness drops 30%. And in a compressor environment with combined radial and axial load, softer steel means micro-pitting starts much earlier. The industry calls this consumer-calibrated lifespan. The shaft, the windings, the bearings, the lacquer grade, the stator lamination steel, every single component has been downgraded just enough to clear the warranty period and not one day beyond it. This isn't one bad decision, it's a philosophy. A viewer, I'll call him Marcus, bought a $1,600 LG French door refrigerator. 3 years later, he came downstairs to warm food. A tech came out, spent 20 minutes, handed him a quote, $780. Compressor failure. Something didn't add up. I asked Marcus to send photos of the wiring harness near the compressor. You know what failed? 12 inches of wire. 12 inches of copper-clad aluminum in a spot that flexes every time the compressor cycles. Over 3 years, that flexion created microfractures in the aluminum core because aluminum work hardens under repeated bending in a way copper doesn't. The fractures caused resistance buildup. The heat killed the control board, and the board threw a compressor error code. Actual repair cost, $14 in wire and 30 minutes of work. The dead control board, $400. That's what drove the $780 quote. Marcus's fridge didn't break. It performed exactly as designed. I know what some of you are thinking. Parts get cheaper. Competition drives costs down. That's just manufacturing. And I'd agree if the failures were only mechanical. But what I'm about to show you isn't cost-cutting. It's intentional design. The kind that requires an engineer to calculate exactly how many hours a part will last and deliberately choose the one that lasts fewer. Not because they had to, because they were told to. This is an electrolytic capacitor. Looks like a tiny tin can. Its job is managing power delivery to everything on the board. In the 1990s, these were rated for 10,000 hours at operating temperature. Quality Japanese components, Nikon, Rubicon, Panasonic, industry standard. Today, inside most modern refrigerator control boards, you'll find what the industry calls Tier 3 capacitors, rated for 2,000 hours at 85 degrees Celsius. The electronics bay of a refrigerator regularly hits 70 to 75 degrees Celsius in summer. At that temperature, with that duty cycle, you're looking at a real-world lifespan of 18 to 36 months. The cost difference between a Tier 3 cap and a quality Tier 1 unit? Less than $1 per board. For less than $1 per appliance, a manufacturer can guarantee your $400 control board dies within 3 years. Not might die, not could die, guarantee it. And then there's the layer even harder to fight than the hardware. Modern appliances run on microcontrollers, and a growing number of manufacturers have implemented what they call protective lockout protocols. The board detects a fault, sometimes real, sometimes a borderline sensor reading, and locks itself. The only reset requires a proprietary tool only authorized service centers carry. I talked to an independent repair tech in Ohio, 22 years in the trade. He told me his ability to actually fix modern appliances has shrunk by roughly 60% in the last decade. Not because the failures are more complex, because the software won't let him. The hardware is designed to fail. The software is designed to make sure you pay full price when it does. Adjusted for inflation, a high-end refrigerator today costs roughly what it cost in 1975. The price hasn't changed. The 1975 refrigerator is still running somewhere right now. I've worked on units that just needed a door gasket. 50 years, one gasket. The 2021 refrigerator will statistically have its first major repair within 3 to 5 years. We are paying the same price for 1/5 of the value. And we've been distracted by touchscreens, Wi-Fi connectivity, and 3 ice shapes, none of which make the machine last longer, most of which add failure points. To the accountant designing the product line, a fridge that lasts 20 years is a catastrophe. A fridge that fails at year 4 with a $600 repair bill, just under replacement cost, is a masterpiece. You either pay for parts or you buy a new machine. Either way, they win. There are manufacturers who refuse to play this game. Not many, but I found them. It took weeks because most of them don't have Super Bowl ads, don't sponsor influencers, and some deliberately stay out of big box retail because they won't cut their specs to hit a Black Friday price point. These brands still use grade 10 steel, Tier 1 capacitors, real copper windings. Several of them have documented 20-year service lives. I'm calling it the Forever List, a fully researched breakdown of the machines actually built to last, with the specific engineering reasons why. Not star ratings, not marketing copy. To specs, this is the machine behind the machine, not the refrigerator. The system that decided this part should last 2,000 hours instead of 10,000. That calculated the billing cycles before you'd call a technician. That wrote the software lockout to make sure you called theirs. You stopped asking why things break a long time ago. Start asking who built the timer,